Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the third section of today's expert track. As you can see on screen, we've got Wolfgang Reinhold, chairman of CARA, the European Car Remarketing Association. And as you can see on the PowerPoint, he will talk about the war for talent and how CARA also will support this aspect in the remarketing industry. So, Wolfgang, welcome on stage. You have shared your screen, so that's great. And off you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody is well. And after a long day looking into the screen, I hope I can tell you in the next 20 minutes something quite interesting. War of talent. What do you have to do to become a talent car remarketing expert? But let me go a little bit back in the history. This is all the new, good-looking people from today. In my days, everybody was running around with a suit and a tie. Thanks God, this time is over. And that is something, let me tell you a little bit. I started the business in the 1980s. And what was happened? First of all, fleet management was not really a big issue. We had big dealer groups, they bought cars, used cars, they sold it. We had a couple of informations far away from intelligent data. Everybody was in big books, good or bad. That is how it worked. For leasing company, most of the contracts were, and the people who are younger than even I'm in the business, a lot of these contracts were residual value format. You had a car, 10,000 euros residual value. The car was sold for 11,000. If you didn't have the next contract, the money went to the leasing company. And if it was 9,000, you had to pay the loss of 1,000. This was the normal way how it works. Maintenance cost was something looking a little bit in the air. It could be, oh, new brakes here, there. I remember now in euros that on a medium-sized car over 3 years, the maintenance cost was sometimes up to 2,000 euros. You have used, nobody knows, because nothing was really put into the system. In 1990, we had the first major book losses as leasing companies. And then we thought, first of all, we need experts. First of all, we need proper departments, which we call car remarketing departments, or where we sell the cars. And we have to train people, and not only on the way that if you sell better than book value, you're the hero. No, you sell better than market value, or at least market value, and then you are the right person. And therefore, more or less everybody had to organize new departments. And the biggest challenge, as I said, was what is a real residual value? What is the process behind? Who is buying the right cars? Cross-border lease or cross-border sales was not really available. How can I find a market value price to set that up? And how I'm presenting the cars in the right format. When I worked for a big leasing company with a French owner in those days, and we had just put the car on a fax system. Make, model code, kilometers, a little bit of value, and then there was 2 columns. One was what is your price, and the rest is our minimum price. And they had to fax it back to you. The bookkeeping department made a choice who was winning the car, and then we have sent it out. No pictures, no details, no real things what we have seen today from Twinner and all the other ones. That was really a little bit up in the sky. But this is how we started the proper car remarketing way. Job description, what do we have in our area? First of all, the car have to come from A to B. We need logistic experts. Then we need the defleeting experts. What are we doing with dents and damages? Nothing was charged in those days. Price and expert channels, which car is going where? Then the sales experts, where can I find the right necessary B2B customer? B2C was not really for big companies like leasing companies. After sales experts, where is the paper, what's the documentation? And then, of course, we started quite late with data expert. The data we got from the very poor level of data, at least to use that for the future. Here is the logistic way. And that is where I personally came first in contact with logistic companies to pick up the cars from the customer, to transport it to the compound. One thing, and excuse me to all the logistic friends listening in. In those days, I learned that logistic has nothing to do with logic, because a transporter came empty with one car, and the same transporter came the next day to deliver another car. And I'm still struggling a little bit how it works, but I'm pretty sure that the real logistic experts know how it is when the transporter is driving only with one or two cars. The three angle was important. Transport companies, most of the transport companies were only in favor of BICO, like buying from the OEM storage somewhere and bringing it to the dealer. And now they found the way that picking cars from the dealer, empty truck, from leasing companies or other independent customers to the compound is an additional business. Today is absolutely necessary to find the right transport company to deliver the car locally and internationally. On the other side, internationally, as Europe is such a big battleground, you need at least 2, 3, 4 different transport companies that they fulfill all your needs. Arrival of the vehicle. As I said in the past, the car was sold as it is. It was better than book value, nobody took care. And now we started really the fair wear and tear guideline. I started that, we had an association in Germany, beginning of 2000, where we started just to discuss with the customers, if you have a damage, dear customers, you have to pay for it. You have to discuss that, you have to make a fair wear and tear guideline reports, that if you have the same two cars with the same damages, that you're not charging different ways. We had to discuss a lot with the customers about the damage, what is fair, what is unfair. The repair of the car was in these days necessary. It was a big damage. And then with the fair wear and tear report, what we in CARA even have as a recommendation, you have to create a friendly document where you take the need of a seller and as well of the buyer and the customer who drove the car, so that you don't have a rip-off for one ride, for one side or the other. And that's the reason why we have called it the fair wear and tear guideline. It should be fair, but damages should be paid in the right way. And on the other side, as older as a car is, as more damages you have, you should not charge as a brand new catalog price. It should be charged for the time and mileage the car was driving. Then the pricing and channel expert, that is something, the most important thing. High damages, low damages, high mileage, low mileages, standard car, luxury cars, you can read it all if you go on wholesale, retail, and then we started already with cross-border sales. In the old days, it was high mileage and a lot of damages goes to East Europe, what is not the case anymore. Even then standard cars or even luxury cars, in those days that our luxury cars is sold the best into the Central European countries, which by far was not the truth. But then of course you want to keep your Porsche and your Mercedes in your area and with your customer base and not selling it about cross-border. And that is what you have to see on low damages and on low mileage. What are you doing with the rental cars? And then, of course, low damage, low mileage, and even low age, quite high residual. It's a different buyer group, as you all know, than you have it with the old ones. This was quite important. The right vehicle, the right channel, and, of course, for the right price. Screen the market, domestic and international. This was quite important, that you don't sell cars where you have already a lot. I just give you the example. In the southern countries, during the summer, you had a lot of small Corsas and the other one from rent-a-car. Don't export cars to Spain or to Portugal or to France. Just take an example when they have already a lot of these cars available. Try to spread that around. And we know that all these cars was coming back after the summer period and mainly into mainland Europe, Central Europe, to fulfill the needs for the cars over there as there was young cars. Special cars, you had Frigo cars, we had armed cars or heavy light commercials. Commercial was a challenge to sell them because you have commercial with low loadings or the wrong doors. And therefore, you have to find out or I had a personal example. We got a lot of cars back from Portugal, from a transport company, and we also, Portugal, sunny country, every car should have air condition. But when we received the cars, there was no air condition, and then it's quite tricky in those days to even sell the cars in Central Europe. As we all seen last week, we have a summer as well in Central Europe. And then, of course, the international market restriction, as Denmark was one of the highest countries. A couple of years ago, it was quite important to export cars out from the Netherlands. Portugal is still a problem, except of the light commercial. There's specifics in the market which you have to know when you buy or sell, or when you look for your customers. But we have seen, like from Brian, now we have a lot of intelligent information in this market, but this is what you have to take as an expert into your own portfolio. When the car is sold, the deal is not over. After sales expert, the car have to be transported if it's on time. Please keep in mind, if a medium-sized dealer is buying 10 cars or 5 cars from you, and as normally, money comes first and then the car goes out. If the transport is late, if the car is late, if there's any additional damages or not seen damages on the car, there is a huge problem. And first of all, you should avoid that from the beginning. But on the second part, if there's something happened with the car, you need after-sales experts who are keeping the buyer happy, that the delivery is done on time, that the car is not stuck somewhere, even if the car goes on cross-border and it takes a week or two. You have to handle all the documentation. CMR paper was a little bit of the pain in the butt, but we hope that whole Europe will have the eCMR pretty soon, all the legal documentations, the papers, the contracts that the car is going to the right destination, which should be the same on driving the car and what's on the invoice. And of course, there's always remarks, complaints, questions on the cars. You should not stop when the car is sold. You should give a good after-sales expert into the organization and into the market. And then something extremely important, data experts. We have now so many intelligent information systems. We should monitor the market value information. We should create clusters for monitoring that, big cars, long cars, different kind of countries. And then, of course, what is quite important is to set up yourself KPIs for the throughput time. Throughput time can go from 20 days to 90 days, but of course, 90 days cars in stock cost you a lot of money. Throughput time for leasing companies or even auction companies, that the car is not running for a week or 10 days before it comes in your hands first, and then the car's days in stock is not helping. If you put a car through an auction, and I always have a very old phrase, the first loss is the best loss. And cars in stock should be sold as soon as possible. Exception is maybe convertible should not be sold on Christmas Day, but all the other ones, a car is not getting better on price, it goes only got worse. But this is, if you have a loss, you have a loss, you have to swallow that, and therefore it is important, once again, the throughput time to get the car stays in stock, and the days in stock. This is the 3 measurements where you can save a lot of money, but they have to be followed by extremely good data, which you got from the data experts. So, what brings the big profit maker for a company? In the first crisis, I worked for another big leasing company with Dutch background, and this is known figures. We lost nearly 200 million euros in that year between sales price and residual value, and this is due to the fact that Europe nearly collapsed. And you have to be aware of this. This can kill a company. On the other side, it can be a profit generator, as we're in the lucky position for the time being. Used car is going extremely good, even due to the anniversary. Due to the COVID days. Another thing, what I can see a little bit on the horizon in the next 2 or 3 years, we have to be careful. There's a lot of electric cars coming back. Is the residual set rightly, if the range of the car is rightly, is new cars with better batteries. All this we have to be very, very careful. Another challenge, and the good challenge, is digitalization on the defleeting and online sales. Why you should travel throughout your country or even throughout Europe to buy cars. If you have the right demonstration on online sales, it is important. The new car market flow, it is important, and we see new couples, new things on the horizon is abo cars. These cars will come back. The small and medium customers will return their cars, and as I said, electric and light vehicles. We have to tackle that very careful. One thing we can help you as CARA, as an organization, we are starting after the summer period, the CARA Academy, where we bring in all these categories, which I mentioned before, trainings to existing people, to new people, people who just want to refresh it, people who just want to get a little bit different view how it works. And we have experts in our organization who do the presentation, online presentation. You can go on the CARA Academy and then you can see the price. We have a start kit in September, which you should send your people over and get the feedback. And I'm pretty sure that they would say it is extremely nice, it is extremely good, and then send all your other people. And on the pricing, we are not ripping you off. It is an acceptable and a fair price for a day or half a day learning we are doing with your people. Therefore, the future in our business is bright, it's challenging, and it's interesting. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention wherever you are in the world. Stay negative on the COVID, stay positive on the thinking. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wolfgang. And surely something that a lot of people are looking forward to. So the courses will start in September, you say? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, and I wish you a great remainder of the expert track today. Thanks.
Thank you.